sheriff says that there's a scam involving a caller asking for money to resolve a civil matter while using a number that shows up on caller ID that looks like it's actually coming from the sheriff's office. Thank you, Daniel. Well, crews are cleaning up the mess left behind by a huge fire at Agua Caliente Park on the northeast side. And we're following breaking news from Midtown Tucson, where an early morning fire has turned deadly. We just got this information into our newsroom. It broke out at around 3:15 a.m. This morning, a man faces murder charges and very disturbing accusations. We do want to warn you, the details of this case are very graphic. He's accused of killing a woman and stuffing her body into a suitcase. So, you know, the rural Metro Fire Chief drove by me like 5 minutes ago, and I had a good conversation with him. He's going to talk to the fire marshal. Hopefully soon, he says, try to get an update on the investigation. They still don't know what caused these flames. But take a look at this right here. This is like a trailer park out in Sedona, and this basically just a river coming through this area here. Look at this trailer. It's caught in the middle of it. It's actually going pretty far. I mean, here's Vail Academy High School right there, and then you go over to this region, you're already getting into Rita Ranch. So that whole span is going to be a shelter-in-place area. So we have breaking news. Pope Benedict XVI is apparently very sick. The current Pope, Pope Francis, said this morning that his friend is not doing well. It looks like crews have found the root of the problem. Check this out. It looks like a small swimming pool in the middle of the intersection. They just opened up that hole, and that is what they found. It looks like that is what's leading to all this problem. I'm going to have Wayne show you this now over here. Take a look to my left. On this road, look at all the water still streaming down. Oh, it is Groundhog Day. We're taking a live look at a Groundhog Day celebration going on right now. Look, people are already decked out in hats. They're ready to go. Speaking of these nice warm hats here, you're probably going to want those for us this morning here. The winners get invited to the White House. Jill Biden made a comment that she wanted to also invite the losing team, Iowa, and people are like, what? Yeah. What's even the point when, you know, the winners go to the White House? Lenny True reports that a lot of parents, they have to drive outside, like far away, to find good child care. When you have to do that, you're taking in the gas money and everything else to go for the child care there. So everybody just kind of, you know, tightening up those budgets. Everybody has their own stories, and you know, even though this is such a somber moment, it is wonderful to hear their commitment to this community and just see them out here. It just brings a tear to your eye. The Beijing Winter Olympics are just 10 days away. I'm Robbie Reynold here at the Arizona Nordic Village in Flagstaff, Arizona, getting ready for those opening ceremonies. Coming up on News 4 Tucson at noon. Title 42 ends tonight. News 4 Tucson has you covered. We'll update you as the preparations are underway at the border. Plus, we're live at our local shelter here in Tucson. Find out how they're getting ready for the end of the policy. And later, a live report in Nogales. Find out what Border City is doing as the clock ticks down to 9 p.m. tonight. News 4 Tucson at noon starts right now.
From KBOA, investigating for you. This is News 4 Tucson, live at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Robbie Reynold. The controversial immigration policy known as Title 42 will be ending later this evening. Our dedicated team of reporters are on the ground, providing live coverage from around the region. Just to bring you up to speed here, Title 42 was put in place during the COVID-19 pandemic. Authorities were allowed to expel migrants, including families and unaccompanied minors, without providing them the opportunity to seek asylum. Now that the policy is ending, border officials are concerned there will be a massive influx of migrants. Now let's get to our team coverage following Southern Arizona's response to Title 42 being lifted. Megan Spector's in Nogales at the border wall, Angelique Lizardi at Casa Alitas, our local shelter here in Tucson, and Lupita Murillo is at a shelter in Nogales. We're going to start with Megan. Tell us what you've seen this morning at the border. Now, while all of this is happening, there's a new memo from the Biden administration that could allow some migrants at the southern border to enter the U.S. without being tracked. The Department of Homeland Security confirming that overcrowded customs and border protection sectors will be instructed to release migrants on parole without court dates instead of placing them in a tracking program called Alternatives to Detention. According to DHS, the new policy will apply only to migrants who have been carefully vetted. The memo comes ahead of what is expected to be a great surge at the border once Title 42 ends. Just on Tuesday, in fact, more than 11,000 migrants were apprehended crossing the border. Arizona Representative Raul Grijalva issued a statement on the lifting of Title 42. He says, in part, while the Biden administration has given its best effort to prepare for the lifting of Title 42, it's clear that they've fallen short. In speaking with Arizona officials and local communities along the border, it's evident that coordination from the federal government is lacking. The latest troop deployments by President Biden and militarization are not the answer. You can read his full statement on our website at kvoa.com. Meanwhile, Texas Governor Greg Abbott is busing more migrants to Washington, D.C. Roughly 50 migrants were dropped off in front of Vice President Kamala Harris's residence at the U.S. Naval Observatory Wednesday night. This morning, 2 more buses stopped in front of that observatory. It's the latest in a series of busing operations in which Abbott has sent migrants from his state to Democratic-led cities. He says he's sent more than 17,000 migrants to 2 sanctuary cities. 12:07 now, time for a look at your weather with forewarned meteorologist Shay Sorensen. Overall, going to be a really nice day for us, Shay.
Yeah, beautiful day, beautiful pool weather. A lot of people enjoying La Paloma's pool this afternoon.
I see quite a few kids out there. They're enjoying it. It's a nice day, isn't it?
The water looks really refreshing, and temperatures are...
Police are investigating a suspicious substance found Wednesday near Dove Mountain and Tangerine. Here's some photos of the scene there. Northwest Fire was on the scene with their hazmat team to assist. Now, we have reached out to Marana Police, and we're just waiting to hear back from them to find out exactly what happened in the situation. We'll update you in our later newscasts or this newscast if we get that update in. Right now, there's an effort underway to incorporate the town of Vail. Many people living there believe that this will better serve homeowners and make sure Pima County gets its fair share of tax revenue from the state. On Tuesday, the city of Tucson approved a resolution to allow Vail to move forward with its incorporation effort. People in that city will now have the chance to vote for incorporation this November. Essentially, the vote will decide whether Vail residents form their own governing body or continue to be governed by Pima County.
We are here not for ourselves, but for the future generations. I have 3 kids that all grew up in Vail, and I want this to be their home that they remember, that their children's children, will have a home to come to.
A previous vote to incorporate into the town of Vail failed a couple of years ago by a close margin. A new state budget for Arizona is headed to Governor Katie Hobbs' desk. Both the Senate and House passed a $17.8 billion agreement on Wednesday, and Governor Hobbs says that she will sign it. Ultimately, the new budget will fund many projects around the state: a widening of Interstate 10 through Pinal County, a one-time $250 tax rebate for parents for up to 3 dependents under the age of 17, and for the schools, $300 million in new cash. This budget also covers the increasing cost of the expanded school voucher program. Lawmakers say both sides had to concede things they wanted to come to this agreement.
We said to the Democrats, no drive-through abortion clinics, and we won't build any border wall. We kept the toxic stuff out.
I knew from day one that to get a budget over the finish line, it had to be bipartisan.
After the passing of the budget, Governor Hobbs released a statement saying in part, quote, "Not everybody got what they wanted, but I'm thankful legislative leaders were able to set aside their differences, compromise, and support a bipartisan deal that makes historic investments in affordable housing, builds roads, bridges, and public transit, expands access to health insurance for Arizona's children, and creates critical new ESA accountability measures." Senator Kyrsten Sinema has introduced a bipartisan bill that cracks down on smugglers along the border. The Protecting the Border from Unmanned Aircraft Systems Act combats smugglers' use of drones. Last year, a single sector of the border in Texas saw more than 10,000 illegal drone encounters. And Yuma Sector Border Patrol agents have caught a drone smuggling heroin across the border. The act is said to include training programs, resources, and research efforts along the border to stop drone-related threats. The Arizona Department of Transportation is starting the final phase of a project repaving 10 miles of State Route 77 between Tucson and Oro Valley. This Sunday, crews will start replacing about 3 miles of worn pavement between Ina Road and the Rillito River Bridge just south of River Road. The paving will occur overnight to minimize restrictions and delays, but the project will continue through July. Still to come on News 4 Tucson at noon, a baby delivered on the highway. We'll tell you how a mother was able to safely give birth on the side of the road. Plus, we've got tips on how you can take better care of your mental health. But up next, hibernation is ending and the bears are out. How you can stay safe. News 4 Tucson at noon. We'll be right back. Coming up on News 4 Tucson at noon, a commercial truck crash is closing Picture Rocks Road. We'll have the latest on the cleanup. Plus, as we reach record high temperatures, it's important to keep yourself and your family safe. Forewarned meteorologist Daniel McFarland has a live report. And later, first responders continue to fight wildfires across Arizona. We have the latest on their containment efforts. News 4 Tucson at noon starts right now.
From KVOA. investigating for you. This is News 4 Tucson, live at noon.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Robbie Reynold. If you've been outside today, you definitely feel it. We have an excessive heat warning today. Fort Worth meteorologist Daniel McFarland is live outside right now, and he is going to tell us about where this is all coming from. But first, we're going to start with some breaking news right now. If you drive along Picture Rocks Road on the northwest side, there is going to be traffic. We have a photographer on scene right now, and he tells us the traffic is moving, but very slowly at the moment. Pima County Sheriffs are on the scene of the rollover crash. It's happening on Picture Rocks Road, just south of Ina Road, west of Silver Bell. Let's go ahead and take a live look at this scene from our photographer right now. As you see, it looks like things are opening back up. And our photographer there, Andrew Melendez, he also tells us that it looks like they're getting ready to move that vehicle off the road. You see, look, the work's already being done there. So good news there. Looks like they're making some progress on that crash. Here's what we know. Northwest Fire crews responded to the call of a large truck rollover earlier this morning. Thankfully, nobody was injured, and the rollover did not cause any new wildfires. Due to the location of the flipped cement truck and where tow trucks have positioned themselves, deputies have closed Picture Rocks Road in both directions. So again, looks like things are open back up, though. That was from Wade Road to Golden Gate Road. We will keep you updated on the progress of that truck removal, so stick with us here on News 4 Tucson at noon. And now it's time to get out to 4-1 meteorologist Daniel McFarland. Daniel, storm alert is low right now, but you're out there to talk about one thing right now, the heat. We also just learned of a house fire on Tucson's east side. It broke out just a few hours ago. News 4 Tucson's Cristiana Ramos is live there with the details. Cristiana, what are you learning right now? Coming up on News 4 Tucson today, Megan Spector will join us live with the latest on Mount Lemon's road conditions.
Plus, News 4 Tucson's Gabrielle Parrish dives into Tucson's weather and how it's impacting the homeless community and what one organization is doing to help.
And later, we have new details this morning on a deadly shooting at Michigan State University. Tucson Today starts right now.
From KBOA, investigating for you. This is Tucson Today.
Good Tuesday morning, and thank you for joining us. I'm Destiny Quinn.
And I'm Robbie Reynold. It is 6 o'clock now. Happy Valentine's Day and happy birthday to Arizona as well. We're going to start with 4-1 weather's Sally Shamrell. She has a look at the forecast for today. And Sally, it's all about the wind. Probably going to put a little bit of a damper on your V-Day plans.
It might.
All right, 6:02 now. We're following several breaking news stories here. First, Tucson police are investigating an officer-involved shooting. It happened sometime this morning near Kolb and 29th Street. Details are limited right now. We do have a crew on the way, and we will be live from that scene coming up later in our newscast. So be sure to stick with us here, and we'll bring you those details. Now, also happening today, Nikki Haley is running for president. The former United Nations ambassador and South Carolina governor announced her campaign just moments ago. Now, remember, 2 years ago, Haley actually said that she would not challenge her former boss, Donald Trump. She was UN ambassador when Trump was president, but it seems that she's changed her mind, and she says she's really been motivated by the state of the economy to come out and announce her candidacy now. At this point, it'll just be her and Donald Trump are the only ones to announce, but we do expect more to announce their 2024 campaigns in the coming months.
Cold temperatures are causing the Salvation Army to take special measures to keep people warm this morning. News 4 Tucson's Gabrielle Parrish reports. And this morning, state lawmakers are attacking Governor Katie Hobbs over funding for her inauguration events. House Appropriations Committee Chairman David Livingston sent letters to Hobbs and her campaign manager asking for a complete and accurate accounting of the funds. Livingston also wants any documents and records associated with the inauguration funding. The letter acknowledges that donor information is available but incomplete. It asks Governor Hobbs to state what she plans to do with any alleged unused money. As of this morning, the governor has not responded to the letter. It's 6:06 now. The woman who led our response to COVID-19 here in Pima County just went through a brutal confirmation hearing to head the state health department. Dr. Teresa Cullen was nominated by Governor Katie Hobbs. You've seen Cullen in our newscasts many times before. She is the public health director for Pima County. But Arizona lawmakers grilled her for more than 3 hours over her response to the pandemic.
You should be able to answer that question. And it is unfortunate that you are sitting here before this committee and are unable to do so.
May I respond?
No.
The full Republican-controlled Senate will have the final say on whether to confirm Cullen. New details on a SWAT situation on Tucson's east side. A man is now in custody after a standoff for several hours. This happened at an east side neighborhood near Speedway and Houghton. TPD used a loudspeaker to talk to the man who barricaded himself, asking him to please come out of his house. At one point, News 4 Tucson heard the officer tell the man his mother was worried about him. Police also told him they had a search warrant. The SWAT team eventually went through the front door. The man ran out, and officers were able to arrest him. Speaker Kevin McCarthy is planning on making his first trip to the southern border since becoming House Majority Leader. McCarthy will be leading a congressional delegation on Thursday, and his plans include traveling to the Border Patrol's Tucson sector, where he is scheduled to be briefed and given an aerial tour. McCarthy made securing the border a key part of his agenda leading up to the House Speaker race during the midterm elections.
3 organizations are suing the city of Tucson, claiming the city forced homeless camps from local parks and public spaces.
Now, they say that was done to make room for the Tucson Gem, Mineral, and Fossil Showcase. Community Care Tucson is one of the 3 groups suing the city. The suit is asking the city to temporarily stop enforcing the after-hours and anti-camping laws. It also claims there are not enough low-barrier shelter beds to accommodate the more than 3,000 unhoused people in Tucson. Well, coming up, you don't have to lose all your money today. We've got tips on how to treat your special someone to a great day and still save money.
Plus, some local nonprofits just got a big donation. We'll tell you which ones. Now that the Winter Olympics are officially underway, it's time for us here at Tucson Today to give winter sports the old college try. For my co-anchor Robbie Reynold, that meant heading north to find a hidden gem in Arizona.
I'm Robbie Reynold for Tucson Today. Go to the Winter Olympics. I'm here at the Arizona Nordic Center in Flagstaff, Arizona, where we're going to learn all about cross-country skiing.
There's a lot of different ways to do it. Like you're always trying to find the way that's going to be the most effective. You know, like you're tailoring your lesson to like who folks are and what they need at a specific time.
Nordic skiing is the use of skis to quickly navigate snowy terrain. It's been an Olympic sport since the first Winter Games in 1924. Despite Arizona's hot weather and mostly desert environment, the employees of the Arizona Nordic Center work to create skiable trails.
The ski community is unique here because of the fact that this is where you get to ski in like this whole section, like Arizona, the lower section of Utah. So we're the closest skiing for like many miles.
There are 2 types of cross-country skiing you'll see at the Olympics, classic and skate. There's no lifts in this sport. You have to go uphill and downhill.
You do have to be in good shape. It's a great workout. I think that's one of my favorite things too. I just think that it's a really unique way to like get further into the trees and like get out into the backcountry.
The Beijing Games will feature races at various distances, relays, and the sport of biathlon, which combines skiing with rifle shooting.
It's got some pretty great things, and like watching skate skiing, people going fast, and it's great. It's really fun.
For Tucson Today, go to the Olympics. I'm Robbie Reynold, News 4 Tucson.
Robbie, I must say, you chopping that wood.
That was great, right?
That was my favorite part.
Yeah.
I know that was going to be your guys' favorite part. I want to thank the Arizona Nordic Village. They hosted me. It was tons of fun. Got to meet everybody out there. So it was a blast, yeah, and it was fun because, you know, we don't have a lot of snow here in Tucson, if we ever get any at all. So moving up there to see some snow was great to take a little trip out there. So thanks again. It was a lot of fun to do that.
Well, it's one of those things where it looks really easy, but I'm sure it is very, very difficult to do, especially going uphill. I can't imagine having to do that.
You filmed this yourself. Let's point that out.
Yeah,
That's
I did this all
impressive.
myself. It was just me in a cabin up there in Flagstaff doing all this. And yeah, I saw the wood with the axe there, and I just couldn't resist. So that was my first attempt at the wood. And once I realized it wasn't going to work, I was like, I got my shot. That's good.
I'm glad that you didn't take down the camera when you were moving around.
All right, today's show is coming up next. We'll be back here tomorrow at 4:30. Have a great and
Current and future FBI agents have to maintain strong fitness, right? And to make sure all their employees are keeping up, state offices put those agents through a fitness exam every single year.
Yeah, I don't think it was an easy one.
No.
The FBI offices in Phoenix and Tucson invited members of the media to try this test out for themselves to see what it takes to be an agent. And Tucson Today anchor Robbie Reynold answered the call.
The FBI fitness test has 4 phases: a 1-minute sit-up test, a 300-yard sprint, a push-up test, and a 1.5-mile run. Applicants only get 5 minutes of rest between each exercise. Those are the exact rules for me. Let's see if I have what it takes.
And begin. Because we investigate and we handle all sorts of matters dealing with national security, criminal nature, stuff like that. So it does require us to be, physical, where we may actually have to chase someone down. We actually may have to put hands on somebody.
I think the hardest part is putting everything together. I think at first you're like, well, 5 minutes is a really long time, and then you do a sprint and you're like, wow, 5 minutes, I didn't recover at all.
Great job, Robbie. You're going to be just doing that last lap. 10:25. Great job. You have an overall 11 points. And then for anybody right now going through the academy starting next week, they would have to get 9 points in order to kind of advance into the process. And so by your 11 points, you'd be a shoo-in. So, yeah.
All FBI agents have to be able to pass this test once a year, no matter their experience level. Agents tell me physical fitness is critical to their success. Robbie Reynold, News 4 Tucson.
And if you are interested in joining the FBI, this is the same test you will need to pass. Here are Robbie's scores to give you an idea of how those points are totaled.
And Robbie is a competitive triathlete, and he did well in the running events, which gave him that passing score. However, apparently Robbie needs to hit the gym and work on that upper body strength. He got 0 points for push-ups, only 21. Come on, Robbie.
Looked like those push-ups weren't bad either.
Yeah, well, he's got a fallback,
Looks,
yeah, an FBI agent.
That's true.
Coming up.